Part 2, I want to show you how we're going to get sounds that we already have and love, but get them to be played by the drum that we just replaced with MIDI. Now, if you have your own library of Logic sampler instruments, well, you're done. But if you don't, this is a good way to get started. So I'm going to use the auto sampler in Logic. Now, the auto sampler, it's funny. I remember I bought it when it was a third-party piece of software by Redmatica. And I bought it because I thought it was fascinating, but I never really used it. Now it's been bought by Logic and it's just integrated in. So I'm going to start with this Easy Drummer 2 drum kit from the Pop Rock package. I really, really like this kit. It just has... I could just see myself thinking a snare needs more that and a kick needs more. Just needs more of that like pillowiness. Needs a little more of that pillowiness. And you can tell that's coming from also the ambience and reverb and overheads because that's how they sample it. So auto sampling is not something that you can't find information about. You know, when I do these videos, I'm trying to find something that I don't think a lot of other people are talking about, you know, because even the drum replacement stuff, that's something I've written about in Sound on Sound in my Logic column. But for this, I'm really just trying to show you how you would do this for this specific task. And there is information about auto sampler, but not a ton, but there is some good videos on it. But that would be more about resampling a piano. For drums, I think it's a little different. So we open up auto sampler, you go over here and you go all the way down to utility, and it's right there, auto sampler. You can't see it, but trust me, it's there. And that's how this got opened up. So it defaults to C1, or mine did, and that's fine because that happens to be the key that does trigger the kick drum. Now we want to set it from C1 to C1. So that's the range. It's just one note. I thought, well, wouldn't that be C1 to C sharp? No, that's not really the case. It doesn't work like that. Okay, sample every semitone. We're not worried about that because this is just one sound that just exists on this one key. If we were sampling the whole keyboard, we would say maybe just sample every 6 semitones and it'll stretch it and condense it, whatever it does. But we're not doing that. We're also not doing round robin, but you're certainly welcome to do that if that's something you want to do. I think what that would do is instead of just taking a picture at each velocity layer, it would take as many as you want. And then you'll have that. You know, why not for kicks? Why don't we just say 3? I don't know. We'll do that. Now for how long? Well, we're doing the kick drum. I think 1 second is plenty. 2 seconds is because I do want to get some of those ambient kicks in there. So I would leave it at 2. 3 might be overkill, but if you don't really care, just go for it. It's not like disk space is hard to come by. But I think 2 is fine. Velocity layers, I changed it to the max, 16. Easy Drummer has 17 velocity layers, so that's really close. I think you would be able to get away with 4, 5 very easily, but I figure, well, as long as we're at this stage, let's just do this. We're not going to worry about the input gain or this stuff or the one-shot stuff. That's for other stuff. For this application, this will be fine. Then we hit sample. Let's make a decision. What do we want to use from this kick? Because there are these other mics. I think for this one, I just want the dry kick. So I'm going to hit the solo button here, and then when we play it, it's nice and dry. And that does actually sound really good. So we can come here, you know, and for this one, I'm really happy just doing 1 second, but let's just keep it at 2 seconds. Actually, let me do it for 1 second just so it'll do this a little faster. And then I hit sample. Let's just call it test 1, because I already did all this. And look what it's doing. See, it's recording it at velocity 8, and it's going to do it 3 times, 1 for each round robin. Pretty cool. Now it says it's going to take about 3 minutes, so why don't I come back when it is done? I actually didn't let it go through all the way. I canceled it because I've already done this, and you get the idea. And it was doing the round robin, so it was taking a little longer. But this really should only take about 45 seconds if you're not doing round robin. So now I would maybe go through again and either change the kick and do another one, do the plastic beater, or maybe I would do the same one, but maybe just with the ambience, or maybe just with the overhead, or maybe do one of it all included where I'll have both of these going on and get this. because as if you watch these mixing videos, you'll see Chris Lord-Alge, he's always adding room samples to the drums. It makes sense that you would maybe just have this. I think I did that on one or two myself. And you can really hear that filling up the width and giving a little extra sound to the whole thing, a little more meat. So I would definitely do that. I would do the ambience if you can. Once we have that sampled, then you would do it again. You would change it and you would just do this exactly the same. You don't have to change anything, and you would do it again and you would just name it something else. Okay, so now once you've done that, now you have, let's say, 12 different sampler instruments, each with one kick drum on it, each on C1. Now that would be very similar to what we saw with the Logic's library of kick drums, and that would be good. But and I don't know if you noticed, but jumping around between them was very fast. I would just click on one and it would load it. Seemed instantaneous, but it's still not exactly how I like to work. So what I wanted to do was take all these instruments that I created and bring them into one instrument. So how do I do that? I'm going to tell you right now.